Elements of light, Chiaroscuro 2. So, a quick review. Value is the amount of light. Form is 3 dimensions or the illusion of 3 dimensions. And Chiaroscuro is creating form and drama using value. As in, this is a pencil drawing. It looks extremely realistic, like it's a close-up of a photograph, but it's not. This is just done with pencil and using Chiaroscuro and value and all of the things that you have learned so far. So the elements of light are the parts of light, and they're similar to the value scale. They have a little bit of different names. Highlight is equivalent to white. Highlight are the shiny spots that you see on things where the light is highly reflected and usually looks white even if the object itself is black. Light is the lightest natural value, and that is equivalent to a tint. Penumbra, which means before shadow, is gray. Umbra, which is shadow, is shade. Cast shadow is black, and reflected light is between a tint and a gray, so it's another stage in there. Reflected light happens when light hits surfaces around the object and then bounces back onto the object. So your exercise, your first one, is to do a spherical map of the elements of light. So you need a pencil and blank paper and your regular drawing tools. And you're going to copy and label the diagram. The elements should be in bands, so these are not as blended as you would normally blend. So start out by drawing a circle, and then you can see how things change. The highlight spot, pure white. Light, the tint. Penumbra, a medium gray. Umbra, the dark gray. Reflected light is down here because the light source is bouncing off the surface and bouncing back, and then your cast shadow is underneath. So do this, and then we're going to apply it to drawing. So remember, Chiaroscuro is all about creating drama, and you do that by contrasting areas of strong darkness and bits of pure white to create that dramatic feeling, and then the grays create the form itself. So if you compare the two drawings on the right, the skull at the top, it's a linear drawing. It has minimal values that are created mostly by lines. It's recognizable, but there really isn't any drama there. At the bottom, there is a Chiaroscuro drawing of a skull. There's a lot of strong contrast between the shadows in the eye sockets and the nasal cavity compared to like the dome of the skull, the top part, and the cheekbone areas, and that creates a lot of drama. That skull starts to have some personality. So for this exercise, you are drawing a dramatic skull. So you need your drawing materials. You're going to use the reference photo, which is larger on the next slide, as a guide. And it's a resource drawing, so you're going to observe it and draw it. But you want to push your contrast and Chiaroscuro to create drama. And that means you exaggerate the darkest areas and the lightest areas. And then you're going to photograph and upload. So you might be asking, what are the darkest and lightest areas? The darkest areas would be back here in the eye sockets, where you have that strong shadow. There, in the nasal cavity again. In this area where the hole is in the jaw, the lines around, push those, make those, this area, anything that's that dark shadow, make it black, not gray, black, super dark. And then you'll have your grays, like this would be black, this would be a dark gray, and then boom, the super light areas would be white. So this area, the ring around the eye, the crest of the skull, the crest of the beak, those would be white. And then the other things are shaded gray. Okay, and here it is large, so you can really see the detailed areas for the drawing. And just so you know, this is the skull of an owl. That's why the eyes look odd. They have that extra bony structure that they can rotate. Owls can move their eyes up to see almost 360 degrees around. People think owls turn their heads, and they do, but it's really the eyes and the mobility of the eyes that allow them to see everything. Okay, that's it. Do it, photograph it, turn it in.